In this video, I'm going to be revealing the 7 biggest fat loss mistakes that could be hindering your fat and weight loss journey. First mistake is that you're dropping your calories too low too quickly. When you're trying to lose fat or lose weight, it's best to be in a calorie deficit. And the easiest way to get in a calorie deficit is to adjust your diet. But you don't want to drop your calories low too quickly. If I go from 3,000 calories to 1,500 calories, yes, I'm going to lose the weight quicker, but it's going to be much harder for me to sustain this low calorie diet. I will do my best to maintain this low calorie diet, 1,500 calories, which sounds pretty depressing to me. And what usually happens when people do a big calorie drop from their diet is that they can't sustain it and fall off the wagon and then go back to eating how they were eating again. Now they've put on all that weight and fat they just cut off, and then they try again and do a big calorie drop and end up going in circles and circles. And this is a losing strategy. One thing you have to consider when you drop your calories, your body is going to adjust to those calories. So if I drop my calories from 3,000 to 1,500, my body's going to be like, shit, I need to get good and efficient at surviving on this low calorie. And then these 1,500 calories won't be a calorie deficit for me. It'll be my calorie maintenance. And in order for me to lose more weight, I'm going to have to drop more calories, or I'm going to have to move more. But it's going to be very hard to drop from 1,500 calories because 1,500 calories is not a lot, and going below 1,500 calories is not something that I could sustain. And then again, we end up back at square one. The better way is to drop slower, something more manageable and much more sustainable. Like for me, going from 3,000 down to 2,700 or as low as 2,500. Second biggest mistake is that you're doing too much cardio or just doing cardio to focus on your fat loss or weight loss journey. Most people think that if you want to lose fat or lose weight, the best way to do that is to do cardio, which is incorrect. Yeah, it can be a good way to expend more calories, but just like adjusting your calories, your body is going to adapt to the cardio. Let's say I did a 30-minute run and I burnt 300 calories. In the following 2 days, I did the exact same 30-minute run, but now my body only burnt 280 calories. Again, my body is getting good and efficient at doing this exercise, so it can save and preserve as much energy as it can. It adjusts to the stimulus that you're throwing at it, so it can store and conserve as much energy as possible. This has probably happened to you on your fitness journey. You've done some group fitness classes or you've gone for a run. Well, the first month, you have a big weight drop. The second month, a little bit less. Third month, not much at all. Because your body is adapting to the stimulus, to this cardio. You either need to move more, then people are like, oh, okay, I need to do more. So they do an hour. And again, body adjusts. I need to do more, an hour and a half, 2 classes a day, 3 classes a day. Then it gets to a point where you don't have enough time in the day, or your body simply just can't handle all this exercise that you're throwing at it. And then you stop for a few months and you put on all this excess weight, and just like the dropping your calories too fast, you start again. Circles and circles and circles. And another thing about doing too much cardio, when you just do cardio to lose weight and don't focus on any strength training, you end up just looking like a skinnier version of yourself. This is called skinny fat. And you can even lose weight and get fatter at the same time. I'm going to do a video on this shortly. You could just lose muscle and not lose any fat. Now your fat percentage is high even though you've lost weight, which is the opposite that we're trying to achieve. So don't do too much cardio. And this brings me to the third mistake, is that you're not doing any strength training. Most people want to look toned and have good body shape. And when people lose weight, they want to lose fat, not muscle. You need to be sending the body a signal to help preserve muscle mass. And this is resistance training. Yes, you have to be training hard, but you have to be training smart. Since you're in a calorie deficit, you're not going to be hitting PRs. The goal is to preserve as much muscle mass as you can in this period. So don't go all macho libre on me. Train hard, but also train smart. Before I tell you the next biggest fat loss mistake, if you want to get some free fitness advice and discounts on my training programs, make sure you sign up to my newsletter. It is the top link in the description. The fourth mistake is what I think people mess up the most, is that you're not focused on high volume eating. When most people go on a diet, they just reduce their portion sizes. So they just eat smaller versions of what they are currently eating. This can be fine at first, but if you eat half the size of food that you're currently eating, you're going to feel hungry. And if you're trying to lose weight and you're constantly hungry, chances are that you're not going to stick to that diet. Then we try and repeat the process, and now we end up in the circle again. You want to eat foods that are low in calorie and high in volume. These are things like your fruits and vegetables. Big fan of berries and green veggies. You could eat so many of these and they're very low in calorie. And they make you feel full, which is going to help you in your calorie deficit and with your fat loss journey. You also might swap out your rice with potato or pumpkin because your 100 grams of rice is much higher calorie than 100 grams of pumpkin or potato. You just need to make these smarter choices which will help with your fat loss journey. And that brings me to my next mistake, is that you're not eating enough protein. Protein is probably the most important macronutrient. When you lose weight, you want it to be body fat, not muscle mass. And eating a lot of protein and hitting our protein intake will make sure that we are preserving as much muscle mass as we can, holding on to it, and that the weight that we're losing is body fat. I like to get my clients to eat around 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, or 1 gram per pound of body weight. So make sure you get your protein in and you have a high protein diet. The next mistake is that you're following fad diets. The thing about fad diets is that they're usually restricting or eliminating something from your diet. Let's use keto for example. You're pretty much eliminating all carbs from your diet. Carbs are pretty much everywhere in today's society, and they're pretty much in every meal, and it's going to be very hard if you go to a friend's house or you go out to dinner. And to be honest, I think some of the best foods have carbs in them. And no, you can't tell me your keto bread is just good as normal bread. It's not. And if I do stray off my diet and I eat some carbs, then I'm going to feel bad about myself because I felt like I've cheated on my diet. No, having some carbs is perfectly fine, and it's not going to make me fat, but it's going to mess with my head. At the end of the day, you want to stick to something that is realistic for you. Most people restricting themselves from a whole food source is not very realistic. The last mistake is that you're not planning around your schedule. The best way to lose weight is to eat 6 smaller meals throughout the day. No, doesn't really matter how many meals you have. It's all about how many calories you consume at the end of the day. If you can only have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then plan your nutrition and your diet around those 3 meals. If you've planned to eat 5 smaller meals throughout the day, but you can only eat 3, you're going to mess with your head and you're going to think you've failed on your diet again. How many meals you eat throughout the day, it doesn't matter, as long as you hit your protein goal and stay in a calorie deficit. I will say this though, I have found that people eating smaller meals throughout the day helps keep their cravings and their hunger in check. So when they get home, they're not ravaging the pantry and eating everything in sight. What are you struggling with the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to keep learning about health and fitness, make sure you watch one of these videos up here.